Heading down the highway, and I'm thinking about my girl. Trying to find a station with a song. They estimate there's 3 billion people in this world, and I spend my time wondering how the other 2,999,999 get along. Try to find a station that can take me away to where I want to be before I'm gone. To the little house above the beach I'll buy one day. And there will be me and that girl sitting there watching the big ships on the horizon, stocked up for whenever children want to drop by for a while. Get along. The wrong side of the blanket, blind side of the door. I'm eyeball deep in all the sleep I never got to lull. I'm freeway fevered, 6 ways shot, insane enough to know I'm not the only one out here dropping down a call. I gotta pay the diesel, pay the banks, stay alive. I gotta weigh in legal, I just fill the tanks and drive. Heading down the highway, I'm just thinking about my girl. Trying to find a station with a song. They estimate there's 3 billion people in this world, and I spend my time wondering how the other 2,999,999 get along. Get along. Get along. Get along.
In a tree by the silent creek, the lonely mopo cries, but his run is left too late, and the field mouse dies. In a flash the mirror breaks, sending ripples through the skies, and the pretty silver fish is the darter's prize. Oh, the pelican drifts in endless flight, and the coolabah shivers in the wind tonight. Takes his place, and he calls the gambler's name, and he lays the cards face down for the final game. And the stakes are running high as the dealer makes his call, and the gambler takes his throw and loses all. Let me lay above the stony earth, hear the final cry of the parrot's mirth. verse from the holy book to comfort me. For my time is running out, like the ebbing of the tide. Place my pistol in my hand and stay by my side. Oh, the pelican drifts in endless flight, and the coolabah shivers in the wind tonight.
Now people tell you Queensland is a place of heat and dust. That ain't at all exactly true, believe me if you must. 'Cause it snows at Wallangarra and up past Girraween, and if you go there in the winter time you'll feel just what I mean. The wind comes up from New South Wales, it ain't exactly nice, because it brings upon its blast big mobs of snow and ice. You'll shiver all the flamin' night and all the chilly day, despite your thermal underwear if you go down Yuki Way. Yes, you can take my word for it and hang me if I lie, but the monkeys sing soprano around Stanthorpe in July. If you should walk down High Street all empty and forlorn on a foggy day in August, just at the break of dawn, well, you'll come upon the pawnbrokers, a dreadful frightening sight. The 3 brass balls have all dropped off and vanished in the night. You can take my word for it and hang me if I lie, but the monkeys sing soprano around Stanthorpe in July. The kangaroos have all gone north until the winter's over. They won't be back from Mossman till the middle of October. The only sound of wildlife is the awful quacking shriek of stupid ducks as they come to land in icy Quart Pot Creek. You can take my word for it and hang me if I lie, but the monkeys sing soprano around Stanthorpe in July. So back up to the big log fire and warm your frozen bum, and toast the good old summertime in pints of Bundy rum. Course they talk about the heat and dust and tropics lush and green, the silly folk who've never froze to death at Girraween. You can take my word for it and hang me if I lie, but the monkeys sing soprano around Stanthorpe in July.
You can take his word for it,
Too right.
hang him if he lies, but the monkeys sing soprano around Stanthorpe in July.
The monkeys sing soprano around Stanthorpe in July.
There's a hotel in St Kilda that overlooks the sea. There's a picture window frontage, shows the sunset to advantage. And I'm sitting here at evening and looking out to sea, wondering in the meantime if you'll come back to me. There's a lighthouse on the water where we used to sit and drink. You'd say that you were half stoned, and then we'd try to swim home. But I'm sitting here at evening and looking out to sea, wondering in the meantime if you'll come back to me. St. Kilda nights and harbor lights, all is calm and all is bright. I wish that you were here with me tonight. And when I see your face, I'll have to say, I want you back, I'll make you stay. I wish that you were here with me tonight. There's a lady selling flowers from the kiosk by the quay. She's always singing songs about two lovers who go wrong. The couples on the esplanade are looking at the moon. It's a long time since I've seen you, I hope I see you soon. Your face is in the window, it's everywhere I look. There's no one left to phone, there's no point in going home. So I'm sitting here at evening and looking out to sea, wondering in the meantime if you'll come back to me. St. Kilda nights and harbor lights, all is calm and all is bright. I wish that you were here with me tonight. And when I see your face, I'll have to say, I want you back, I'll make you stay. I wish that you were here with me tonight. I wish that you were here with me tonight.
This could be America on a new superhighway. It goes on forever, it seems. But I can still see the curve of the old 31 where I dreamt my Australian dream. But I know it's not America by the names and the faces, the familiar line of the sky. I'll be staying tonight at the TV motel on the road. Whoa, whoa, to Gundagai. This could be America, the noise on the radio, the sound of tomorrow today. I'll turn it down, though some like the sound of the voices from far, far away. I know it's not America when I look around and see everything so bone dry. I'll stop for a drink at the TV motel on the road. Whoa, whoa, to Gundagai. Tugunda guy. This could be America when the road signs all tell me all the places that I need to be. Just up ahead there's the city of the future. You can enter and win it for free. But I know it's not America when the little dog barks as a busload of masters goes by. They'll be staying tonight at the TV motel on the road. Whoa, whoa, Tugunda guy. On the road, whoa, whoa, Tugunda guy. Tugunda guy.
He stormed through the door of the Maori pub, just appeared one day, walked in from the scrub, had a cigarette swag and a raging thirst. Took 3 days before he first spoke a word to any of us. Said he didn't want to cause no fuss. When I heard his name I knew that he was the last of the pack horse bagmen. He was the last of the pack horse bagmen. When he was young he was a member of the Ragged 13. He told of the places and the things he'd seen. We spoke of the bloke he might have been, but he'd become a pack horse bagman. He'd worked on the big runs way out west, Wayville, Inverway, all the rest. Riding one horse, leading two, but he was giving the game away. He said, I'm hanging up my spurs and I'm heading out to Birdsville. Sit on the banks of the Diamantina, they can bury me there one day. When I have to carry pliers to cut them fencing wires, the country's getting too civilized, so I'm giving the game away. He was the last of the pack horse bagmen. The last of the pack horse bagmen. He spent 10 days in the old Maori, and I tell you, mate, it was good to see the pack horse bagman spinning these yarns, talking all day and night. Then he hitched a ride on the Birdsville mail, and here's the end of my little tale. As the big truck lumbered out of sight, he was singing with all his might. I'm hanging up my spurs and I'm heading out to Birdsville. Sit on the banks of the Diamantina, they can bury me there one day. When I have to carry pliers to cut them fencing wires, the country's getting too civilized, so I'm giving the game away. I'm hanging up my spurs and I'm heading out to Birdsville. Sit on the banks of the Diamantina, they can bury me there one day. When I have to carry pliers to cut them fencing wires, the country's getting too civilized, so I'm giving the game away. I'm hanging up my spurs and I'm heading out to Birdsville. Sit on the banks of the Diamantina, they can bury me there one day. When I have to carry pliers to cut them fencing wires, the country's getting too civilized, so I'm giving the game away.
As I went out to have a bat just the other day, I had no idea what was coming my way. I played a chanceless innings and I earned every run, and I made 100 in the backyard at Mum's. Oh, I made 100 in the backyard at Mum's. I clobbered and I crunched every fabulous run. I toiled and I sweated, and when the day was done, I'd made 100 in the backyard at Mum's. I started out real shaky, like just poking around. Me sister with her off breaks, well, she had me pinned down. But when me little brother bowled, I gave him the clout. And when we stopped for lunch, I was 24 not out. Then me Uncle Nev came on bowling his quicks, but I was scoring freely with deflections and flicks. As I passed me 50, I paused for a beer, and when I hit the roof next door, they all began to cheer. 'Cause I made 100 in the backyard at Mum's. I clobbered and I crunched every fabulous run. I toiled and I sweated, and when the day was done, I'd made 100 in the backyard at Mum's. I took some on the body, but they didn't hurt a bit. I only hit the ball that was there to be hit. I hooked them off me eyebrows and I tried to keep me head, and the ton came up with a straight drive through the window of the shed. Oh, I made 100 in the backyard at Mum's. I clobbered and I crunched every fabulous run. I toiled and I sweated, and when the day was done, I'd made 100 in the backyard at Mum's. He made 100 in the backyard at Mum's. Oi!
Dear Mrs. Allen, I write to you today to say that I was with your son just before he passed away. I trained with him at Goulburn and we travelled on to France, and I was there when he got hit in the German advance. It seems so long ago now since we marched into your town, and all the young men heard the call and signed their names straight down, and the girls and the children proudly cheered us all along. Our bib and Luke that day was a feast of speech and song. But the snowy rivermen just couldn't march today. There's far too many of them dead for the rest to feel that way. The cold ground of Europe has been watered with their blood. There's a strange new crop of crosses rising in this foreign mud. From Goulburn to Sydney, then a ship from Circular Quay, a spirit of adventure stirred and filled both Les and me. It was great to be with comrades true and travelling abroad. For a while the war seemed far away and the world was to be taught. In Durban the natives took us travelling in style, in rickshaws that they pulled along at $1 a mile. In Cape Town we watched the black boys diving in the bay. The Snowies had a good time there and would have liked to stay. And the snowy rivermen just couldn't march today. There's far too many of them dead for the rest to feel that way. The cold ground of Europe has been watered with their blood. There's a strange new crop of crosses rising in this foreign mud. When we landed at Plymouth, we'd spent 8 weeks at sea, and in train straightway for Wilton, where our camp turned out to be. They treated us well there, so we really can't complain. Though the sky was grey, the weather bleak, and it always seemed to rain. When we set sail for France, the weather had turned fine, and it wasn't long before the call to reinforce the line. Then a shell whined above us, and we were raked with stones and mud. And I turned and saw Les sitting there in a pool of his own blood. And the snowy rivermen just couldn't march today. There's far too many of them dead for the rest to feel that way. The cold ground of Europe has been watered with their blood. There's a strange new crop of crosses rising in this foreign mud. He stared as the blood poured out of his legless thigh, and I carried him back to the 8-post close nearby. His blood soaked my uniform, but he never breathed a sigh, and I had no idea then that he was going to die. When I left him, he spoke of a pain inside his chest. I suppose that's what killed him, I just don't know the rest. But I know that we all miss him and can't help but wonder why so many snowy men so quickly had to die. And the snowy rivermen just couldn't march today. There's far too many of them dead for the rest to feel that way. The cold ground of Europe has been watered with their blood. There's a strange new crop of crosses rising in this foreign mud. We hear the King's grateful for all the men who've died, and is sending home a photo of the graves in which they lie. Well, I still think that the cause is right, but it's not clear anymore why so many Australian men should die in Europe's war. We hope with our hearts that time will ease the pain of never once to see his face or hear his voice again. But I've seen so much death now since that day on which he died, that I can't now be the snowy man that once I was inside. And the snowy rivermen just couldn't march today. There's far too many of them dead for the rest to feel that way. The cold ground of Europe has been watered with their blood. There's a strange new crop of crosses rising in this foreign mud.